Is this tough? Just like, it looks cool. I don't know. On the ground, yeah, I look really sweaty because I am, but if that's fine, then... Is it cool to have the car? Look at these colors. Alright. Let's put that away. You've had your fun. Anyways, welcome back to Channel Blue. Today I'm going to be talking about what it looks like to put yourself out there. There can be negatives to trying something new. There can be discomfort in doing that. But I don't think that the discomfort itself is a bad thing. I kind of have just been reflecting as I've been actually, putting myself out there on the internet, like consistently, reflecting on how I kind of live my life interior-wise now because of that. Because I'm kind of putting myself out there, I kind of have this constant unsteadiness inside of me, constantly living in like my stomach, underneath all that I do, like in my daily life. Like it's kind of always been there recently. And there are some days where I'm already stressed out with what I have to do there. I find myself having to kind of turn away from it and not acknowledge how kind of anxious I might feel. Even after those times have passed, like I have been learning that it's okay for me to feel that way. It's okay for me to feel uncomfortable and not quite feel like I'm safe, which is, I think, maybe that's just a sign of me being in that headspace for so long where I haven't like put myself out there, like taken risks in my life recently very much at all for a long time. And maybe that's why I'm having to remind myself this, but I do think that, being uncomfortable is something that you can work through, but it's not something that you need to feel like you have to get rid of or is like a bad sign of anything, or it's not negative. I think it's just a side effect from putting yourself out there in the world to such magnitude that you actually have a chance of getting something big out of it. The lighting's completely different, but yeah, basically I think that being uncomfortable is a byproduct of it's a byproduct of actually taking opportunities instead of leaving them on the table. It's the byproduct of putting yourself out there. It's the byproduct of taking risks. It is not something to be afraid of or to resolve it's something that you can work through, but it's not something that is inherently bad or needs to be resolved in any way. I think that I'm thankful that I feel uncomfortable because I'm taking a chance on things, and not uncomfortable because I'm not, and not uncomfortable because I'm spending every day doubting myself, watching every day go by internally where I'm not listening to my own desires and making them a reality. I'd rather not be uncomfortable from noting that in my life, and I'd rather be uncomfortable because I'm actually putting myself out there and putting effort into things that I want to put effort into. So yeah, I just put the car door up to help block some of the wind, because I don't know if that's in my recording, but I've also been having to trust myself intensely recently, which has really put my self-knowledge and my empathy towards myself and my love for myself to the test. It's also uncomfortable because I haven't had to trust myself on something in a long time. I feel like the people that I have admired throughout my time on Earth have been people that, like, I see that in them. I see that they have trusted themselves enough to take the leap of making something for themselves, whether it be like writing a screenplay or getting a very competitive job or whatever it is. Like, I've seen people take leaps of faith and trust themselves in something where you might not get positive feedback and make it through. And that's always been something that I've admired my friends for, and something that I've kind of been neglecting for myself because I've just been so afraid of starting and yeah, I think this is probably a pretty touched on concept, but I do think that it is a lot more gratifying to be uncomfortable because I'm doing instead of uncomfortable because I'm not, you know? Yeah, I've been having to trust myself a lot, which I think is only going to help me help other people more. And is also going to help me enjoy my life. If I'm able to trust myself internally, then when things go wrong externally, I'll have, myself to fall back on. And if things don't work out, then I can trust myself to find a new avenue and something that will. Which, is very terrifying. I think I need to be a little terrified at this point in my life. I think I've been not terrified for too long. And it's starting to terrify me, ironically. So some little things that I've noticed recently as I've been trying to actually make content somewhat consistently. And at this point that I'm filming this, I don't know what my next video will be. I don't know what I'm going to talk about next. I'm trusting that whatever my source of creativity is, whether it's external, it's from a higher power, or it's internal through my experiences, there's a bunch of different theories on, where your creativity comes from. Whatever that source is, to trust that it will work for me if I don't force it, and that the less I try to control in my life, the more control is going to naturally form out of my flexible way of approaching life. I think when you start trying to control your life and the people in it, that is when you start to lose everything, because you can't. And in accepting that you cannot control external factors in your life, you gain an internal locus of control where you don't need to feel in control to be in control. If you have detached your sense of stability from external factors like your friends or money or your success. And so kind of trying to detach myself from that and have faith in whatever my creative source is, I think that's ultimately what's going to help me the most, and not trying to overthink it, and learn by doing as well. Is another thing that does not feel right or natural for me, but that doesn't mean that it's obsolete or shouldn't be considered. I think learning by doing is probably the most useful and perceivable of success way of learning, rather than just trying to turn to metacognition and thinking about your thinking and trying to change your habits beforehand and get everything set up and perfectly ready for when you eventually do decide to put yourself out there. That's not how it's going to happen. You're never going to be ready. So I think learning by doing is a very powerful and an inspiringly dynamic way of learning. So I encourage you all to consider that method for yourself and learn that you don't have to be in control to feel in control. That is up to you, and that is up to where you put your worth in the world, whether you internalize it towards yourself, what you can control, or if you place your worth in external factors that you can't control. That's up to you and how you decide to regiment your purpose. So I'm sweating like a dog though, and the sun is setting, so I'm gonna go. But thank you all for watching. I will see you in the next video. My video that I was working on for a while is now out. I'm very happy about that, more or less. Go check it out if you haven't already, if you want. And that's all I got for you. See you in the next vid.